right, we are back. This is the Freezer Podcast. And you know where to find us. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. You got to hit that subscribe button when you're on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, hit us on the like page. Or like us on the page, sorry. And then if you're on iTunes, you guys already do an amazing job on iTunes because we get a lot of views on that, or listens, sorry, and on Spotify. So definitely do that. We have probably our best episode of the year right now, so you got to
Not probably, it is.
It is definitely the best episode.
Oh,
so,
sweet.
this is obviously an honor, Ahman. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
We're going to segue right into that with the coaches. And, you've had, like, basically two coaches, and then technically you had three with, Mike Holmgren, because he technically is Green Bay too,
Correct.
So
Sure.
That mindset, that mentality, he probably brought that to Seattle. And now you see Matt LaFleur, a really, young kind of coach, tie it all in together. Like, what do you see with the coaches you've had, and then what you see right now through, media, through the beat, what they're kind of talking about this guy, maybe if you, I don't know if you checked out his press conferences from time to time, but what is your take from what you've seen from the coaches you've had, and then what you probably would see this kind of in the Green Bay Packers 2019 era?
Right. I would say coaches today and LaFleur coming under McVay tree
Right. Yep.
and how McVay works.
Right.
I was with LaFleur in Houston. He
Right,
was,
yeah,
He
absolutely.
was quality control for the offense.
Oh, that's cool.
And,
So you actually know him.
For
That's awesome.
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
So man-to-man, great guy. He basically did his job. Didn't say a whole lot. Did
Good.
his job, but knew, everybody that was at this lower level, they're working to get somewhere. And you could see that. He was a hard worker, grinder, did his stuff, whatever he needed, whatever Kyle needed from him. He got him, the cards written up for practice squad guys to learn the defense and learn the offense or whatever. So just following him, and so that was 2007, so that's 12 years ago.
Right.
So he's been grinding. And
Yeah, absolutely.
so definitely I say there's a respect factor there, because to be at it for 12 years, and I say probably half of those, so 6 of those 12 years probably was just the gopher guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say
go
probably
coffee,
nothing.
donuts, stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it was no different than John Gruden. Same thing. Grinding, probably picking donuts up right down the street when he was here.
Right.
So to see where he's at, and basically knowing what he was a part of, being under McVay, where McVay's been and where he's been in terms of Tennessee. He wasn't in 49ers, but he was just other teams prior with the Rams. That's what I was trying to think of, Rams, and what those offenses has done. Been great. So that's a good, I say, for all the fans listening, for Packer fans listening, use that as a reference.
Okay.
Like, okay, he was a part of this Tennessee Titan offense. They had a young quarterback, young running back, decent defense, and they did this. The Rams, they did this. But don't put everything on that. It's not, because there's different ingredients here, different players here. You do have a great quarterback here. You got a defense that's in rebuilding. And you got a run game that's kind of, I would say I'll say more from the running back standpoint. The back's there, experience. I say now the offensive line is kind of more rebuilding, because you got Balaga that's beat up. You don't know how much he's going to play or not.
Absolutely.
You got Bukatari, one of the best offensive linemen in the league right now. Hopefully, as long as he stays healthy, that left side is protected.
Absolutely.
So what I know about coaching, because I coach now today, and if I was coaching here in Green Bay, if I was coaching Chicago or the Vikings or out in LA, what I would do is the same style that I believe what I've seen from Matt LaFleur and what McVay do. You listen, you gotta tune in, because you got a new generation of athlete.
Exactly.
It's not my generation or the guys right before me where you could read them the riot act and then they could go play.
Right.
They don't. Yelling at them was nothing. Yelling at me was nothing. I'm like, all right, I need to do. I can shake it off. I need to do this. But now you can't do that. It's a new generation of kids.
Feels like it's a coddling kind of thing. Like,
it is in a way, but if you don't do that, though, you're gonna lose them.
Yeah.
And the one thing I know about coaching sports, no matter what sport it is, and no matter what age group, if you don't get the buy-in, I mentioned this earlier, if you don't get the buy-in of the players, you're creating the beginning of the end for you as a coach.
Okay. Exactly.
No matter if you're the head coach or you're just an assistant, if you're coaching just running backs or offensive line, if you don't get that buy-in where they like you, they just gotta like you. They ain't gotta love you. They're gonna respect you, hopefully.
Right.
But at least you got respect, and you got, okay, I like this guy a little bit.
You want to play.
Then
for
I'm
that
gonna
guy.
play. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. If you don't get that, then you lose them. So I believe he's done that.
Okay,
far.
so things we've been talking
has
about a
done
lot on the show, like, is the difference between McCarthy, kind of the age gap between his players, and now LaFleur is probably the youngest coach we've had. I don't know how McCarthy was when he came here, but
he was pretty close. He was like almost like 39 or 40 himself. Yeah.
So
30.
LaFleur's 39. As a former player, do you think that resonates? You can connect easier with the younger guys. I've heard that they've been having music at their practices where they normally didn't do that. Things to kind of get those guys going. Do you think that makes a big difference for those players?
Yes, and it makes a huge difference. Like I said, with me coaching, I would do it the same where I'm finding out what they like.
Right.
Yeah.
If it's a practice thing, if it's a way I deliver my coaching skills or things to them when I coach them, obviously they don't like a yeller. They'll say, let me know. If I say your name wrong, let me know. Correct me. Don't be afraid not to correct me. Let them know that, hey, I'm human. I'm just like you guys. I definitely was one of you guys because I used to play.
Right.
Get that connection. And then once you get that connection, then you can be like, hey, when they make a mistake, you can correct them in a way where they don't take it personal.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing, because once you find that, because you could get emotionally into a play in practice or in a game, and then you could lose touch of that as a coach, and to be all of a sudden be yelling at a player when you just established that relationship, and now you're yelling at him.
Yelling, what's going on here?
And he's going,
what is it?
And the player today will be like, hey, bro, we just
were just cool.
We're just cool, and now you're yelling at me during the game
Now
because
you're talking
I did this.
What is this?
So but then if you make a mistake, say, hey, I apologize. Right. Do that. But old school coaches be like, I ain't apologizing to Ahman right now. He just fumbled the ball.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be doing that. But
I thought the doghouse. Yeah, it was more of a thing back then.
Right.
Yeah.
I knew I was not getting no apology. I love my guy, Sylvester Crooms, great coach though, by the way. But I knew I wasn't gonna get an apology for him yelling at me for fumbling, or Mike Sherman, or anything of that nature, or even McCarthy. But the way he did it was, he got the buy-in right away. Okay. He got my buy-in instantly. So our first team meeting in 06 in OTAs, he said to us, in May, y'all bye week is this day to this day. I said, oh!
Huh?
I had played, got drafted in 98, 99 Seattle, traded here in 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5. There had been, so I had Dennis Erickson, Mike Holmgren, and Mike Sherman. There had been no head coach that told us in the offseason when our bye week was. That was kind of like their negotiating chip.
Yeah, sure.
If we win,
this is your treat.
Then we'll give you the week off. But you wouldn't find that out until after we won or lost the game. So that means you were buying a $200,000 ticket to go to Omaha, Nebraska, or wherever you were from.
Right, yeah.
Because they wouldn't tell you till the day before you could fly out.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we won. You got the week off. Now I got to buy a $200,000 ticket.
Let's go.
To go 6 hours away.
Thanks, guys.
Well, the funny thing is now they posterize it all over media. Like you have your bye week, you know about it like in April.
Well, the whole
exactly.
special,
the
whole
schedule,
show.
Yeah,
you should have seen. I was like, everybody's like, Ahman, you okay? I'm like, did you hear what he just said?
No, I'm not okay.
I was like, he just told us now it's May.
I could book cheap tickets.
I could book a regular. I could get a regular $200 ticket to Omaha.
First class.
I could buy. Oh my God. I was like,
small things.
It changed the game.
Yeah. See,
it changed the game for me. I was like, I'm in. This is a good coach for us.
Whatever you want, sir.
I was like, we went 8-8 that year. I was like, this the guy.
It don't matter.
It don't matter. He just told us something that I never experienced. So that right there set the tone for me.
You're like, yeah.
I was like,
I'm gonna run hard for this man.
I was like, this dude's awesome.
If he got you your respect right away, we got to ask the question then. I mean, how'd you feel about the way they kind of let him go then? Was that respect? I mean, was that respectful? Was it did you kind of look like, oh man, they did him like that? Like,
yeah. I was like, that's not right.
Okay.
And
that's kind of what we thought too.
Yeah.
I don't like, my opinion, I don't like any mid-season let go of any sport.
Oh, sure.
Baseball, football, basketball.
Sure.
Because you're having a rough year already.
Right.
And you're gonna multiply the suck.
Right. Yeah.
you're having a losing year, and you're gonna now fire the head coach who's unfortunately part of this. And then the players are like, I know as a player, I never experienced it, but it's like, all right, who am I looking up to?
Yeah, exactly.
Who's calling the shots? I know I have a running back coach, but who's the head guy telling him what the scheme is of the week and what the game plan is?
Right.
Well, then
it's
you
like,
guys are left to kind of deal with the fallout then.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like,
You're kind of
you
in
get
limbo.
You got the cameras in your face.
Because they're going to ask you right away, who do you think the next coach is going to be? Like, man, I don't
don't
know.
know, man.
I just want to know what the first drive going to be. What the game plan for. We got
right
Minnesota
about
this
that.
week. Their Minnesota defense is. We got Cleo Mack coming off the left edge. I'm not even worried about that.
Right, yeah.
So
No,
those
I
are the
get
type
it.
of questions that happen when you get a midseason fire. No matter any other sport.
I was the same way. I thought that they kind of used the excuse of, we used that to jumpstart our head coaching search. I think that they could have probably still gotten Matt LaFleur had they waited till the end of the year.
Right, yeah. I mean,
didn't
it
sound like
wasn't
he had
gonna
a ton of
change. It
interviews.
wasn't like,
Yeah.
for most of us, it almost seemed like the writing on the wall was Josh McDaniel, right? You know, like it was kind of like
Yeah, it was
everybody kind of thought it would be him, and maybe that's why they wanted to get so early
Sure.
in the process. I'm like, they're probably going to go to the Super Bowl. They're not going to be giving him
Yeah.
interviews like midway through January. Like they have so much time.
Well, I felt for
This
Mike
is
too,
middle of
and you
December.
can probably relate to this, Ahman, because he lives in town full time here. I don't know if he's.
Yeah,
I think he
because
still
has
lives
family.
in
Yeah,
there.
his family here, right?
Yeah,
So
that's in high school.
one, you're in the midst of a second straight, losing season, and then you get fired mid-season. I thought a lot of the current and former players kind of came to his aid, saying, "Hey, if you see him out, give him a handshake, tell him good
Yeah.
job." And I thought that
did.
he's a very proud man to represent the Packers, and I think that it wasn't just a job for him; like it was more.
And
No,
he
I mean,
embodied Green Bay.
No, yeah, it was like that from day one. I
Yeah.
tell that, like, when he came in, like, between what he said about the bye week, but just the way he carried himself in meetings, I was like, I just knew he had a serious work ethic in him, and just finding out more about him as a player, which I didn't know much then, but then obviously I know now. I know, from Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, people,
Right, yeah.
and just having
Toll
that
booth
work
guy, right?
ethic,
It's a blue chip
working,
guy.
yeah, working in toll booth.
Right.
You knew he's a blue collar worker,
Yeah.
grinder, and so that's where I respected him. That's kind of where I was kind of raised in that mode of at the end of the day, hard work is what you do.
Pays off.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Don't point the finger at anybody. Do your job first. Type of mentality.
sure.
So I saw that in him. All the way through the time. When he got let go. So I just thought it was just from the fact of. I mean, I know they did it for their reasons, but like for a reason, when you weigh out the whole pick, you lay out everything that Mike McCarthy did.
Mm-hmm.
Got a Super Bowl. Been there several attempts.
8
after.
straight playoffs.
Right.
I
So
mean,
I say just that resume.
Yeah, the resume.
I think
alone
that
is just
earns
enough.
you.
At least for
Okay,
the rest of the season.
this
right?
a warning. Just say, hey, we'll let you play this season out, but we might have to move forward to another coach.
Exactly.
At least give him that 4 games, 5 games. I say in my book, he definitely.
Because the season doesn't. I mean, fans think about the season starting in September, but really for the coaches and players, it starts kind of in April, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So he's been working at that since April, and I'm with you guys. I think that
Absolutely.
should let him play it out.
Yeah.
So a lot of moves have been made this week or this year. I
Yeah.
guess.
Lot different
It was a
when Ted
different.
was
It was
when
exactly.
Ted was Ted.
It's a whole different regime with Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur and obviously with Mark Murphy obviously
Mm-hmm.
kind of running the show a little bit. And what did you kind of think about the moves? Obviously, really heavy on the defense. Also with the draft and free agency
Yes.
kind of combined.
Yes.
We kind of all thought maybe everybody's kind of always like. Give Rodgers help. Give Rodgers help. You lose Jordy. Jimmy's kind of, we don't know what we're going to get out of him. After that, it's like, we lose Randall Cobb. We have Devontae. Obviously, he's, our lead man. But what did you think about the moves? Like the team that you see now and that you've kind of seen through OTAs and mini camps and, that's been assembled. What do you think?
I like the team.
Okay.
I like the defensive moves. They need it.
Yeah,
We've seen
absolutely.
it.
Had
We've
to
seen it. Clay going out to the Rams, but even if he stayed, he's been injury prone the last
Right,
few years.
yeah.
So you got to add that in there. It's really how much time will he play on the field? That would be something you would consider, but he's not. He's a Ram now. But doing the pickups they did with all the Smiths, they got Jadarius, they
Yeah.
got Preston.
And you got
Having
Amos
that,
in the back.
and it's just we're answering the question to fill in the gaps where we need them on defense, because we know in this division right now who's leading the pack between the Bears and the Vikings,
Right.
which hasn't been like that for a long time.
No, it's tough.
and-
I think Matt has famously said, it is time to stop relying on 12. This is why they do this, right?
Yeah.
It's time to start putting
And you
some
don't
more
wanna-
pressure
Let's
on.
stop having to win games 35-31 and
Yeah.
try to win some 21-17. Yeah.
And so that means to me, let's develop the run game.
Sure.
Let's get stronger on defense, so we know at the end of the game, it doesn't have to all be on Aaron.
Right.
It could be on Jamal, Aaron Jones, and the offensive
Dexter
line.
Williams, yeah.
It could be on Devontae and Geronimo and Aquamanius and
Yeah.
all them receivers they
Yeah,
got.
absolutely.
And, you know, Jake Kumaro, all those guys they picked up in the last 2.5 years, which is good because most teams coming in this thing is like, you know what? All we got to do is take care of number 12.
Yeah.
We shut number 12 down, it's game over.
Right.
You know, that's home or away. So you want to change the narrative for defensive coordinators planning to stop this team.
It's a perfect word. The
I think
narrative.
they start running. That's why they're keeping a fullback this year. Fatality.
Which is, yeah, when they met, oh,
we need a Willie
it hurt
Henderson
me.
in here.
It hurt me when I saw my man Ripkowski gone.
I love the
Oh,
Ripper.
yeah.
He was
I
great.
love Aaron. Aaron Ripkowski was awesome.
He had that big ass beard.
I wish I ran behind him. When I first met him, I was like, you're a beautiful guy. You're like 6'2", 245, 250. This would have been a great picture running behind you. I would have had, just like running behind Big Will. It was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, right.
You know, my fullbacks in Nebraska, even though they were 250, they were like 5'8".
Okay.
These
They were
big boys.
trenched up. These are 6'3". Will Henderson was 6'3",
He's a big man.
255.
Yeah.
Aaron Ripkowski like 6'2", 250. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is beautiful.
And they let him run when they had him going.
Right.
Yeah,
and he
absolutely.
could run after
Yeah.
the catch. He
Right,
could run with
absolutely.
the ball. That's what
thought-
I told him all the time. That was to be able to move like he moves with the ball, without the ball was something special.
Yeah.
And obviously that second year or third year with him, they just somehow didn't find him in the
Well,
team.
I
It
feel like
didn't
that-
make sense to me.
That,
That's the only
the
part.
writing on the wall was after that fumble in Atlanta. Like that's kind of like I feel like the last time you kind of saw him. you know?
Unfortunately, yeah. But that's football.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That
You know,
is
that's
foot-
it's,
You
it's
hate to
not
hold
it's
him to
about
that one
right?
play, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what you
You
know it
can't
as.
put
And-
that on anybody.
Exactly.
You know.
Well, that's our Packers stuff, right? So
Oh.
you know we're gonna
The
take
important things now.
one
Let me
real
drink
quick.
another water.
Yeah, we're gonna take another
Ready.
quick break. When we come back, we're gonna talk a little. We're gonna have a little fun with them. We're gonna get into the freezer forecast here. Maybe dive in, you know, with some comic world. And don't go anywhere. This is a Freezer podcast.